It's Tuesday, July 11th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First up, we will check in with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. Then we'll find out what's happening at the Barnstable Senior Center with Activities Coordinator Susan Griffin. And finally, we'll check in with DPW Director Dan Santos. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. Town of Barnstable shellfishing is closed for the time being. Due to the extreme rainfall, the Division of Marine Fisheries issued an emergency closure for all shellfishing areas east of the Cape Cod Canal. That includes the towns of Sandwich, Bourne, Falmouth, Mashpee, and Lewis Bay in Yarmouth. The closure will remain in effect until further notice. Well, this summer, visitors to Bismore Park can discover Barnstable with a new outreach program. The Discover Barnstable program kicked off yesterday with story time hosted by the Hyannis Public Library. The series is designed to share the wide range of resources the town of Barnstable provides year-round. Future programs include activities about the natural wildlife in town, putting with a golf pro, hula hooping for fun and fitness, and so much more. Programs will be held each week in July and August on Monday mornings at 10:30 and Thursday afternoons at 4:30. You can visit artsbarnstable.com to learn more. The Golf Committee will discuss plans for the renovation of the Hyannis Golf Course. A recent study will help guide that process. The Golf Committee will also discuss golf fees for FY 2018. The Golf Committee meets tonight at 5:30 at the Old Barnstable Fairgrounds. Well, the Planning and Development Department is working to update the town's open space and recreation plan. That plan is used to identify challenges, potential areas of growth, and priorities for open space. Once approved by the Massachusetts Division of Conservation Services, the town will be able to qualify for state grants that are related to land acquisition. Residents can be a part of the update process by taking a quick survey. You can find that survey by visiting the Town of Barnstable's website and clicking through to the Planning and Development Department. Well, up next, we're going to chat with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. So joining me now live, we have Chief of Police Paul McDonald. Chief, such a busy time for the Barnstable Police Department. I know your officers were in quick action yesterday and actually caught a prisoner that had escaped. Tell me a little bit about this situation.
Well, actually, there were a couple of recruits currently at the Mass Criminal Justice Police Academy, which is located up in Plymouth, Mass. We have 4 officers. It's the 64th recruit officer training class that's in the academy right now. There are 47 recruits in the academy. 4 of them are Barnstable police officers. And what they do once a day, they do their PT, and they're running different locations throughout the town of Plymouth. Yesterday, they were running through the Miles Standard State Forest. They do that quite a bit. As they were doing their warm-ups, they were notified by the Sheriff's Department and the Plymouth Police Department that a prisoner had just escaped from the Plymouth County Correctional Facility, which is a relatively short distance from the state forest. They just gave the recruits a heads up just in case if you see anything. The recruits then went out and they did their run 3 to 5 miles through the woods. Then they came back to the parking lot, and they were doing the warm down exercises. While they were doing that, they were getting ready to leave. They're loading up their equipment and putting them back in their cruisers. They saw an individual come out of the wooded area. The individual saw them, then he took off running. A couple of recruits, one from Barnstable and 2 other recruits took off, ended up chasing him and tackling him into a wooded area. One of them, Gian Barcello from town of Barnstable, actually tackled him and captured the individual. So it was a pretty good grab. I mean, these kids are only recruits; they're not police officers yet, but it was a good grab.
That makes you feel pretty good about those recruits, right? Coming onto the force.
It's pretty good. Here's a poor guy escaped from prison. He's up against recruits doing their PT. He's not going to outrun them. I mean, these are young kids, and they've been training for the last 6 months. So they ran him down pretty quickly and captured him. It was made them feel pretty good.
I was going to say that must have been a big boost for those guys, for sure.
Absolutely.
Any word on how this person escaped?
We don't. They just notified me last night, and I was notified by their press officer. So I don't really have the details. I don't even know what his name was or what he was incarcerated for. But the officer chased him down. He's an interesting kid too. His name is Gian Barcelo, and actually he was born in Brazil, immigrated to this country legally, and is a naturalized citizen. Is a Marine Corps veteran. He recently came down on civil service list, and we hired him. So he's an interesting kid, and he did a great job already.
Wow. Well, such a great addition to the Barnstable Police
Absolutely.
Department. We like to hear that. I want to ask you really quick, noticing over the 4th of July weekend, we had a lot of traffic here in the town of Barnstable.
We did.
It really seemed like, I don't know if it was the way the holiday fell, but a lot of people came to celebrate the 4th here on Cape Cod. How was it for the police department? Did it keep you guys pretty busy?
As far as individuals being down here, the pedestrian traffic, the motor vehicle traffic, this is probably as busy as I have ever seen it. All the restaurants were crowded, the beaches were crowded, the bar rooms were crowded. But as far as our call volume was down dramatically. For the first time in a long time, everybody came down, they behaved themselves, and it was really a relatively quiet weekend. A lot of people were here. We had geared up for it. We had a lot of additional patrols out there, and plus, of course, we had the 4th. We had all the parades where the whole department works. But overall, it was a very, very quiet weekend for us. Actually, the last 2 weekends in a row were very, very quiet for us. So, which is good news. People coming down, they behave themselves, and a lot of people are down here. But it's relatively been event-free, except for the crazy rainstorm we had Friday. We were out straight. That was almost like it was the middle of a blizzard. We had people abandoning their vehicles in the middle of the street. Roads were being shut down. The rotary at the west end had to be shut down completely because it was flooded, and the vehicles were coming in, stalling into the puddles. The roads were blocked. So, besides that, it's been a quiet 2 weeks for us.
Well, and I have to say, too, Chief, looking around, taking a walk to Main Street at lunchtime, that kind of thing, seeing the community service officers around, that program seems to be going very well, and it looks like another successful summer with the community service
Absolutely.
officers.
They're making a huge impact, and for years and years, the business community, town management, the town council, they wanted to have a visible police presence back on Main Street. Back then we just did not have the manpower. But now we have the Hyena Station that's open at High School and Main Street, and the town was willing to fund the community service office. We have it up and running, and it's making a big difference just having that obvious visible police presence down there acting as a deterrence.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Chief, for checking in, and congratulations to those new recruits.
Yeah, that was a good job.
Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today.
I'll talk to you.
Talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Our guest today, Chief of Police Paul McDonald. Now we're going to learn about activities at the Barnstable Senior Center with Activities Coordinator Susan Griffin. So, Susan, summer is a very busy time at the Barnstable Senior Center. What kinds of activities can we look forward to?
Oh boy, we still have quite a few things going on here for the summer, even though so many people are so busy. But if you're out there and you're on your own, or you have some company, or you want to bring your grandchildren, we're doing older movies we're calling Friday Flicks, so people can come in at 1 o'clock and watch a movie with their family and enjoy a cool afternoon here at the Senior Center. We have many classes that are available. We have some art classes coming up that will be available to begin in July. We have our usual exercise classes, many of them, from yoga to cardio. So it's pretty much whatever your ability is or flexibility, you can join one of our exercise classes for an extremely reasonable cost.
You are not kidding about the extremely reasonable cost. Activities at the Senior Center are so affordable. I think they beat any fitness center around town. Wanted to ask you, if a class has already begun, can you still sign up to enter that class?
Oh, yes. And that's not a problem at all. Or if someone is feeling uneasy about which class to choose, they can come in and try any one class and talk to the instructor for free. They wouldn't be charged. But our classes average only $6 a class. And I have to put a shout out to our instructors. They are amazing, and they're all experts in their field and very highly trained and teach throughout the Cape, not just at the senior center. Many of them teach at a lot of other locations, including gyms and other senior centers. So they're really, really very, very educated on what they're teaching. So I really encourage people to come in and give it a try.
You know, here's my other question for you, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you have to be a senior citizen to participate in your exercise classes?
Not at all. We welcome anyone to come in and try any class that they would feel that they would enjoy or reap some benefits from.
Yeah,
and you do not have to be a lot of people ask us if you have to be live in the town of Barnstable, and no, we don't. Anyone's welcome from anywhere.
Wow, and then of course you can find all of your classes listed online. You have those available to everyone, and you also put out the compass.
Yes.
Do you put that out monthly, Susan?
It's bi-monthly, so the next one will be mailed out actually next week, the second week in July, and that will cover August and September.
Wonderful. Very exciting. Love all the classes and the programs at the Barnstable Senior Center. And then you always, of course, too, have some special events happening at the Senior Center. I know a big event that's happening, Governor Charles Baker's Council to Address Aging in Massachusetts. They're actually going to hold a listening session later on this month. What is this about? What do they want to hear from residents?
Yes, we're honored to be able to host this event. Again, like you said, July 25th at 9 a.m., and we would love it if people would RSVP to 508-862-4750. And they specifically would like to hear about what makes our community a great place to grow older and how we can support, how the Governor's Council, how they could support families that include one or more older adults, promoting human connectedness and to reduce loneliness and isolation. So there's many, many topics that affect our seniors and our communities that they would like to hear about. So we really want people to come in and let the Governor's Council know how they feel about aging in this community. It would be very beneficial for them to hear what you think. So please come in 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on July 25th.
And not too long ago, I think within the past year or year and a half, the Senior Center actually completed a needs assessment to really look at this issue as well, looking at what people need many people want to age in place here in the town of Barnstable, what services they need to do that. So it was really interesting to see that needs assessment. That was really to tailor what the Senior Center was going to do in the future and what services they felt that you guys needed to add. But now this could actually be a resource for the Governor's
no doubt.
Council to Address Aging.
Yes, there's no doubt. And it's with the population turning 65, so many per day, it's just amazing. And aging so rapidly at this period of time here on Cape Cod as well, there are going to be many, many more needs. You know, we all know the issues about housing and transportation, but there's so many other things that we would really like the Governor's Council to hear about. Just connecting people, you know, people's public perception about aging, right there is just really, they're really important topics.
Absolutely, and of course, as you mentioned, you are just looking for a head count. There's no charge to attend the event. It is free and open to everyone, but you're just looking for a count to make sure you have enough seats available and have the proper room size.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today,
Susan. I have one more event I'd like to talk to you about.
Please do.
We actually have an ice cream social, so if anyone wants to come in and have a little fun in the afternoon, it's at 1:30 on July 27th, and there's a great four-piece musical group called Who's the Boss, and they'll be performing that afternoon.
Oh, how fun is that?
Yeah, it is. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no one can turn away ice cream, right?
No.
Is there a cost
anyway?
Is there a cost to attend the ice cream social?
That's a free event.
Oh, wonderful. Do we need to sign up in advance?
Yes, please.
Okay,
yes.
Call the Senior Center to sign up. Yeah, that ice cream social sounds like a lot of fun.
It is.
Hey, Susan, thank you so much for joining us
Sarah.
today.
Have a great
I really
day.
appreciate you too.
Bye-bye.
Our guest today, Activities Coordinator Susan Griffin. Artists have a unique opportunity for a retreat on Sandy Neck. We're going to learn more about the house at the halfway point. Local artists have the chance to unplug and spend some time on Sandy Neck Beach. The town of Barnstable and the Cape Cod Art Association are offering day excursions to the house at the halfway point on Sandy Neck Beach. The house was donated to the town of Barnstable in the 70s for educational purposes.
We rehabbed the structure, and now we're using it for nonprofit groups to come out here and use it as a base for either educational purposes. Certainly environmental education is a really great use of it. And then these artist groups have been coming out for a number of years now. So it's sort of morphed into, I think it's always maintained the use requirement when it was initially given to the town. It's always had a really productive and constructive use. It's just sort of morphed into this new place, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful. People love it coming out here. I hear about it for years and years after they come out and enjoy this place.
I was just talking to someone earlier, and they were saying their photographs aren't even capturing what it is that we're looking at. The colors just are amazing to stand here. And, I always find that when I paint on location, when I'm working on the painting, I'm trying to bring in what I'm actually feeling and seeing. So it's not necessarily to capture it as a photographic image, but to be able to, put a little bit of myself into it. And I think if you're standing in the location as opposed to looking at a photograph, you're just one step closer to it. It's just, it's a wonderful feeling.
You can learn more and download an application by visiting artsbarnstable.com or contacting Arts and Culture Coordinator Melissa Hirsch. Excursions are scheduled in May, September, and October of this year. Joining me now live over the phone, we have with us DPW Director Dan Santos. Dan, talking to the chief a little bit earlier in the show, we talked a little bit about that heavy rain just a few days ago. How did that affect you guys at the Department of Public Works?
Well, we certainly got a lot of phone calls. As soon as the rain started, people started calling and reporting flooding conditions, which it's hard to do anything about when it's pouring rain. Very, very difficult to respond. The only thing we do is maybe put out some barricades if it gets too deep.
Right, you can't get the snowplows out for heavy rain, can you?
No. So we just have to wait, and then most of the water will subside as it does. There are some low-lying areas that will have some puddles that remain, and we pump those out. We have a big pumper truck, and we'll pump those. In general, there wasn't really that much damage. I think other communities had more damage. We had, the worst of it is you get sand washing out from the side of the road onto the road. So one of our responses, over the weekend this week will be putting our sand sweeping trucks out and sweep up the sand in the intersections, because particularly this time of year, that's dangerous with motorcycles and bicyclists. Sand can be real problematic. So we take care of that. And we had a few catch basins around the top of it wash out, so there's like a pothole there. And some of the road shoulders washed out, so there's like a drop-off, so we have to put material back in there. A lot of flooding calls, private basements flooding, things like that, which we really can't do anything about. And what's interesting is this storm, one of the things we do when we design drainage systems is we try to base it on a storm. And there's two types of designs we do. There's a 25-year storm and a 100-year storm. And what that means simply is that it's the probability of a certain storm happening in 100 years. And around here, that's 7 inches of rain over 24 hours is considered the 100-year storm. So once in 100 years, you'd expect to get 7 inches of rain over 24 hours.
Wow. So we hit that. We hit that.
Well, we had, basically 4 inches of rain in 2 hours. So we had, that would be 2 inches of rain an hour.
My goodness.
Not over 24, in an hour. So my guess is we were in the area of a 500-year storm.
My goodness.
So our systems aren't designed to handle that kind of water. By design, they can't. What happens is they'll flood, but then as the rain stops, they'll start taking the water and it will recede over time. It just can't handle the water while it's falling. And so people call us and they say the system's broken, the system doesn't work, the system this and that. Well, the fact is it's not designed to handle that kind of rain, so that's not surprising to get those calls. But
right, and then it's amazing too to see, Dan, how quickly things start to go back to normal as soon as that rain stops. It only takes a little bit of time, and then
an hour later, and mostly it's gone.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, amazing. It was a lot. I'm surprised we didn't have more power outages, to be honest with you, with some, all the debris that was falling.
Yeah, we didn't have too much tree damage, because we didn't have the high winds, really, that typically are the problem with the trees. And in the winter, it's snow, obviously, and wind. And there were a few things like that. But all in all, I think we came out pretty much unscathed, and we've taken care of most of what was called into us really before Monday was even here.
If anyone has questions out there, or we come into a situation like that, like the storm where we saw a lot of water, what kinds of issues should they report to DPW, and what should they not report to DPW? And then, Dan, what is the best way for them to get information to the Department of Public Works?
Well, really, you can reach us through the town's website, or on the home page, or on the Public Works page, or you can call us at 790-6330 to report anything that you don't think is right. Doesn't no harm in calling, even if it's not a problem. We'll go out and take a look. But particularly with rain and flooding, if after a couple hours, there's a road that's got 2 feet of water on it, we need to know about it because it's not draining properly, and we need to either pump it or clean out the catch basins or some other solution. So.
Well, great advice. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we don't have any of these fluke 500-year storms for you.
Well, I hear on Thursday there's some more, possibly some heavy rain, and even today the radar is showing some rain moving this way. I'm hoping it's going to skirt us, but it's possible we'll get some rain in the next couple of hours that could be heavy.
Well,
we'll be ready.
We're going to keep our fingers crossed that it's nothing like the other day for sure.
Okay, great.
Hey, thank you for joining us today, Dan. We
thanks,
really
Sarah.
appreciate it. Talk to you
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye-bye. Our guest today, of course, DPW Director Dan Santos. Up next, now let's find out what's happening around town in today's community calendar with Megan Mamlock.
If you're a big fan of campfires and sing-alongs, tonight is the night for you. Come join Cotuit Library and Laura Fila at Ropes Beach, also known as Loop Beach, for some fun songs and marshmallows around the campfire at 7 p.m. Please register at Cotuit Library. Also, grab your beach chair and your family and head down to Atherton Park on Hyannis Harbor tonight for a free summer concert featuring Haywired, a rocking country band performing current hits and country classics from 6 to 7 p.m. Are you having balance issues but still want to work out? Chair Support Yoga is the workout for you. This yoga program is great for anyone that struggles with getting up and down off the floor. The class focuses on stretching, improving balance, and building strength in a calm, supportive atmosphere from a chair and standing positions. It is free to all and is every Wednesday at 10 at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center.
Now let's take a look at this week's board, committee, and commission meeting schedule. Well, thanks for tuning in. We're going to be right back here tomorrow, same time, with another great show for you. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.